It was night time and Trixie the parrot, said Daddy, had her head under her wing. Sometimes she slept this way, just as a canary bird would sleep, but often she would huddle up on her perch and doze off with her head drooping down a little on her chest. All of the family were asleep when Trixie seemed to hear in her dream a strange sound. She pulled her head from under her wing and looked about her with sleepy eyes. Did she see someone way off in the corner? Trixie was frightened. She did not quite know why. She was never frightened of people, but this person stayed where it was so dark, and did not light a light, only a little one that flashed quickly and went right out again. When her master came downstairs late at night, he always turned on the light. But Trixie thought she had better be polite. This was probably some very queer guest and she must be nice, for all the family were asleep. Hello, said Trixie. The man grumbled to himself. He didn't answer me, thought Trixie. I must speak again, and this time she shrieked, Hello. Will you keep quiet? Said the man in a frightened, low voice. No, answered Trixie, never still. Now Trixie had said this in a very loud voice, and from upstairs Trixie's master heard the parrot. She never says that except when someone is here, he said, and he went downstairs. As he reached the room where the parrot was, he saw a man hurrying off before he had had a chance to get anything, for he had spent his time since Trixie had spoken putting a large coat over the parrot's cage. The window had been left open and a burglar had come in, but Trixie, the parrot, had been the cause of his going out. A trumpet sounded through the woods, said Daddy, and then the voice of Mr. Giant was heard saying, Come, all the fairies, to the bonfire party. Come, brownies, come, elves, come, gnomes, come, bogies, come, goblins, and come, witty witch. At that all the creatures came flying and running and rushing to the bonfire party. The invitations were delivered by Mr. Wind to those who were any distance away. They told stories, they sang, and they ate roasted corn. And later on, when Mr. Moon had come up to see what was going on, they danced. And how like fairyland they all did look, for they all wore gorgeous costumes of the early autumn colors. A little black dog named Soot, said Daddy, was out for a scamper when he saw out in the lake, far out from the shore, an upturned canoe and two girls trying to swim with all their clothes onto the shore. They could swim, yes, but how long could they keep it up? Oh, dear, how badly Soot did feel to be so small. He could not rescue them. He was so very tiny. But he had a voice and he could run on his little legs. So back into the village he tore as fast as he could, barking, barking, barking. He ran to some men and he stood around them barking and jumping up and down, his little face looking very sad and worried. Something must be wrong, said one of the men. Let's go and see. This dog never acts like this as a rule. Soot led them down by the water and there they saw the upturned boat and the two girls trying so hard to swim to shore. The men rushed to one of the boat houses on the shore of the lake. Everything had been closed up, for the boating season was almost over and very few people went out in the autumn. The men broke open a boathouse and they took a launch out into the lake. They just reached the two girls in time. In another 3 minutes they could not have kept up any longer. They had called for help but the wind had carried their voices in another direction, and the only one who had seen them was Soot, their real rescuer. Now, there were 2 guinea pigs which were quite big. They were the mother and daddy guinea pigs. And there were 3 smaller guinea pigs. They were the children, of course, explained Daddy, and they all belonged to a pretty little girl named Alta. It was nighttime, and Alta was sound asleep. And as it was winter time, the guinea pigs were in the box in Alta's room. The guinea pigs were all asleep, too, when they heard a scratching on their box. First Daddy Guinea Pig opened his eyes. What is it you want? He asked. Don't be afraid, said a low voice. I'm Peter Gnome. I've come to call on you. I won't hurt you. I think you are all very nice. And your children, sir, are lovely. That pleased Daddy Guinea Pig so much that he invited Peter Gnome to look at the children and to play with them. Mother Guinea Pig was awake now, and as Peter Gnome gently took the little guinea pigs in his hands, one by one, they squealed sleepily and seemed no more than little round bits of fuzz. First Peter Gnome would stroke one guinea pig and then another, and he told the daddy and mother that he simply could not make up his mind which was the loveliest. That delighted the proud parents, for they had never been able to decide themselves. Did you feel like eating the children when they were very young, Mr. Guinea Pig? Asked Peter Gnome. Feel like eating my own children? He squealed in such a loud voice that Peter was very much afraid Alta would awaken. Well, there are many creatures who do, said Peter Gnome. I only asked because I wanted to know and I heard you did. Well, now you know, said Daddy Guinea Pig, that I do not eat my children when they are young or old. I most certainly do not. I love them from the first day up, and more all the time. He does, indeed, said Mother Guinea Pig. He is a great help to me. He is an unusual guinea pig. He is devoted to us, squealed the little guinea pigs. I'm so glad to hear it, said Peter Gnome. You'll forgive the question? To be sure, said Daddy Guinea Pig, who was calm again now. Of course there are guinea pigs and other creatures who do such things, but I'm not one of them. Never, never, never. I'm honored to have met you, sir, said Peter Gnome, and your family is wonderful. So off he hurried, throwing behind him a piece of cabbage leaf and saying to himself what a lovely family of guinea pigs they were. Bobby was a small fox terrier. He was black and white, said Daddy. Or perhaps I had better say he had a white body with black spots. He belonged to a little girl named Lily and he was very, very fond of her. One day Lily's mother said, "How would you like to visit your cousins?" Lily thought it would be splendid. On the following day the trunk was brought down from the attic to be packed. Bobby saw it and knew that he was not going to be taken on the trip. If he had been going too, Lily would have acted very differently. He sat by the trunk and cried. And all day along he wouldn't move. Early the next morning the trunk was carried away to the depot by an expressman, and poor Bobby howled. Lily kissed his little black spotted ears and she, too, cried, but her cousins did not want Bobby brought too. After Lily had left the house Bobby would not be comforted. He would not eat, and all day long he would look up the road to see if Lily was coming. The next night there was a sudden scamper and a wild bound. For far away Bobby had heard the sounds of wheels and he felt Lily was there. Yes, she had come right home. She had missed her Bobby. And never again were they apart. The fairy wondrous secrets told me to talk to you when you were asleep, said the canary to his little mistress Cora. Then tell me how it is you can get along without teeth, said Cora. My beak takes the place of teeth, the canary explained. It is very sharp, and I can eat all I want. When you see me at the cuttlefish and the sugar, I am really sharpening my beak, just as though it were a knife. Now that is something creatures cannot do with teeth. Whoever heard of people sharpening their teeth? But that is what we do all the time with our beaks, we birds. Yes, we also sharpen our beaks on the bars in our cages. And the birds outside find plenty of tools for sharpening. We are never bothered about eating anything we wish to have. If we feel like it, we sharpen up in time, and then how we do enjoy our food. October 12th is not celebrated as a holiday because it was the day when Christopher Columbus was born, but because it was supposed to be the date upon which Columbus first stood upon the ground which forms a part of the continent of America. The exact date of his birth is not known, nor the exact place. Columbus took many voyages in his lifetime. He discovered many islands and made for himself a great and lasting name in history, but he never knew he had discovered a new continent. Always he thought that those places he had touched were parts of Asia. And it seems quite sad to think of the times we've been applauded, and often, very justly too, when we've recited well or played the piano well, while Christopher Columbus, who discovered America, did not even know of the great deed that he had done. Never had he any realization that in a new continent they would erect monuments to him, nor that in schools they would give pageants about his trip, his discouragements, his successes, and his little son Diego, whom Queen Isabella made a page at the Spanish court, could not boast to the others and say, "My father has discovered a new continent," which is more than can be said for most fathers, and most people for that matter. For neither did little Diego know, and it has always seemed such a pity. It would have been so splendid a thing for any little boy to have been able to say. It always strikes folks as funny, said Sophia Camel, that we look our best in the winter time and not in the summer time when the zoo is filled with people and when so many come to ride us. But we don't care about our looks. We have our family ways. And one of our family ways is to molt our hair after the long winter is over. We can't change our ways to suit people, even if we would like to change them. We can't, indeed, said Sally Camel. And though they may think it a pity we don't dress up in the summer time, they will have to take us as they find us and be satisfied. Hoda, the cat, said Daddy, was always complaining. First Hoda would leave her milk as if she didn't like it at all, and then she would upset her little dish filled with bacon. There was really nothing in the world the matter with Hoda except that she had been spoiled. I have some nice milk for you today, said the cook. It has just come and it is good and warm. Now Hoda was thinking of the mice she had heard scampering in the cellar. She didn't want the milk. She would much rather have mice. And when Cook lifted her up and carried her to the corner of the kitchen where she had put the bowl of milk, Hoda scratched as well as snarled. Oh, how badly the cook did feel. Not because the scratch was such a bad one. No, that amounted to very little, but she felt so hurt that Hoda could have scratched her. She had always been so good to Hoda. Hoda hurried to the cellar. Yes, now she smelt the mice. Ah, what a scamper she would have. She did not want milk. No, she would have mice. She sprang for a mouse. What? It had vanished. Then she tried for another as it was hurrying across the floor. She missed the second one. She tried to catch 3 others and each time she missed them. Hoda for once in her life was thoroughly and absolutely ashamed of herself. She had not been able to catch the mice and she had once been famous for her powers as a mouse catcher. Yes, she had grown lazy and useless. She had been stupid too. That was all because she had not been unselfish and nice, but had been horrid to everyone. And it had spoiled her. She could not catch mice. Hoda was a very sad cat as she slowly climbed the cellar stairs. She went back into the kitchen and there she drank the milk she had been so rude and horrid about before. Oh, you were thirsty after all, said the kind cook. Hoda purred and jumped into the cook's lap, trying to say, I know I have been horrid but please forgive me now. The chipmunks were having a fine time the other day, said Daddy. Hurry up, said Old Father Chipmunk to the younger ones. We want all the nuts we can get for the winter. There will be a long, long time to eat, and we must hunt now. Mother Chipmunk was down in her hole in the ground. The squirrels always have their homes in the holes of trees, but the chipmunks like the ground better. She was teaching all the very little ones that they must only drink dewdrops. For they are like the rabbit family, and think that water which has touched the ground is very dangerous to drink. They will only drink fresh dewdrops and rainwater from leaves and flowers. All the little chipmunks hurried and scurried about, and pretty soon Father Chipmunk said, I will offer a prize for the one who gets the greatest number of nuts. Hurry, scurry. Chippy Chappy won the prize. It is a house I made out of nuts, a nice little house of special kinds of nuts, said Father Chipmunk, and Chippy Chappy can eat a room whenever he feels hungry. But now, all of you hurry, and hide your nuts. And off they scampered to their little homes with their winter food.